Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people. This is the Vapid Hotknife, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. This is actually the first most voted for vehicle this week, coming in with 73 votes. And of course, we'll throw a comment up here on the screen. Don't know what it is yet because I record these and edit them way ahead and then put the comments in at the last minute before I publish the video. So I'm doing it in reverse order this week because we had a very slow car for the end, and I figured we'd get the quicker of the two out of the way. You would think the hot knife would not be the quicker of all the vehicles out there, but here it is. Had an impressive wheelie at the start, and that wheelie elicited quite a few laughs from Commander Hobo and Sven, who are both following me in pickup trucks. And you can hear that laughter if you happen to be a supporter of the channel, either by being a Patreon patron, a YouTube channel member, or a Twitch subscriber. All three of those groups will get access to a new supporters-only version of Will It Off-Road that'll go live on Sundays, a day early. So not only will you get to know the results a day early, but you'll hear a different audio track. Instead of it being this voiceover, it will be our Discord chat that we have. Just our conversation as we're going up and down the mountain, which is usually quite a bit of fun. We have a lot of fun recording these videos, and you'll now get to kind of listen in that behind-the-scenes action by being a supporter of the channel through either, like I said, Patreon, YouTube channel member, or a Twitch subscriber. The link to the videos, it'll be an unlisted video every week, and the link will get posted in the Vainglorious Supporters chat channel on our Discord server. So anyways, the hot knife has massive rear tires, needed tiny front tires, and because of that suffers from an immense amount of understeer. I was really struggling with it when I first began, but then I figured out that kind of the key to this car in the dirt is you don't steer with the steering wheel, you steer with the gas pedal. You turn in just a slight bit and then blip the throttle to cause the back end to kind of kick around. The only place it doesn't work is places like that where you're braking and you can't really blip the throttle, but otherwise you go shooting off the mountain. You do have to be careful with this car though, because one of its other notorious traits is that it has the suggestion of brakes. It doesn't really have brakes, it just kind of has the concept of braking, and it doesn't really execute that concept very well. The brakes are worthless on this car, as you'll see in the control descent. They are totally worthless. That said, I still like the hot knife. I get it out and drive it every once in a while. This was one of the first cars I bought when I first started playing on PC and transferred over from Xbox 360. Since I had pre-purchased the game, I think I became eligible for this. I don't remember why, but I like this little car. It's a lot of fun, and it's made it to the top of Mount Chiliad in 3 minutes, 20 seconds. So will it off-road? I mean, yeah, it got here. I would not recommend it under any circumstances, however, because it was a pretty big handful to get this thing up here. That makes it 10th in muscle cars, so nothing too terribly special. 3 seconds slower than the Blackfin, but it did come in 2 seconds faster than the regular Imponte Dukes. Not the Duke of Death, but the Dukes. Overall, though, it's 113th, so not so good. Lack of brakes caused a little bit of an issue. I shot off the side, and now I'm a little bit stuck. Wedged between a tree and kind of a ledge on the rock there in front of me, making it a bit of a challenge. So instead, I'm going to use the recently added muscle car wheelie function. Well, recently, 6 months ago now. But I wheelied out of there. I have to turn around and then immediately hit a rock. Which again caused Commander and Sven to laugh their heads off at me. I love that I get so much support from my support trucks. It looked like I was going to hit that hiker at the last second. She kind of lagged. So yeah, braking. it's difficult to tell here, but I was struggling very, very hard to keep the speed off. And honestly, right there, I was saved by those bushes in the fence. I wish I could say there was some bushes and some fence on all of this. This was rather terrifying. It didn't help that Commander Hobo nearly ran me over in his big giant compensation truck. Way too much speed there. Nothing I could do with the brakes to get that speed off. Almost landed it, and instead, ouch. Premature damage descent. However, I do manage to get it to kind of like just slide a bit and slow it down that way. And then it's rather impressive when it goes back up, it gets grip. Most muscle cars can't get traction on something this steep and this slippery. Hotknife had no problem, so it was going up in the dirt, fine. Coming back down where gravity is, you know, actively seeking to kill you at 9.8 meters per second squared, not so much. It's these brakes. There's Sven and Commander strategically placed so that should I run off again, I won't be able to bounce into their trucks and they'll get to laugh as I fall. Not a very pretty landing, but not the worst either. But man, it's just those lack of brakes. There's like, other than just stopping on the mountain every few feet, there's not a lot I could do to really control this speed. I am on the brakes here, and you can tell they're not even strong enough to lock up the tires in the dirt. I mean, that's just how terrible the brakes are in this thing. A near tragedy again. It just gains so much speed every time I land. So yeah, downhill, definitely a much, much bigger struggle due to the braking than the uphill was due to the understeer. So it's getting there though, just, you know, one major tragedy to speak of. I'm gonna do a rather nice drift here in a minute. I don't remember where it actually happens. I think it's right here. Yeah, I managed to kind of hold a little bit of a drift there, totally by accident. Yeah, but anyways, it looks cool. Wish I could say that it continued to happen. I tried to repeat it again here in a little bit. Instead, I hit a hiker and got a wanted level. And tried to do a drift again, but I failed. What are you going to do? Learn how to drift? No, I don't know. And then had too much speed. The understeer kicked in, and off we go. Couldn't stop, couldn't turn. That's just, that is the story of this car. If you've ever driven one, you know that's exactly its two big problems. But it is down in 3 minutes, 53 seconds, as both the trucks just have mild little collisions there with an SUV. We're back to the top of Mount Chiliad, where we're going to throw this car off the top, do a weird ballet spin. I don't even know how that happened. And begin our way down with two pickup trucks coming behind me that I managed to land in the back of one. I love that. I perfectly landed in his bed and bounced right back out. Already shedding a lot of body parts. Of course, there's no hood to lose on this. And it does have a bit of a damage model. I mean, excuse me, the Hotknife's been in the game since it launched. It was like, I think it was just for people who pre-purchased or something, or bought the extra special edition. I don't know. I don't know why I got it on PC, honestly, because when I bought the game for PC, I just bought the standard game. Maybe they were doing it as, it's not for returning players, is it? I have no idea. But yeah, I have all the access to all those. No, I think everybody does now, don't they? But way back when they were exclusive, and they may still be exclusive. I don't know. I can't keep up with these things. I can barely keep up with what order the DLCs came out in. I still think the Nightclub DLC was the last DLC. I know better, but I still keep thinking it. Anyways, managed to get stuck a little sideways, did a little reverse action out of there, into the really bumpy, muddy bit, and the car is not really happy there. Of course, the inability to steer kind of led me out of it. Missed the tunnel again. Finally got going. And we managed, if I remember right, to do a nice little kickflip here. Yeah. Well, kind of a kickflip. I thought it was kind of impressive anyway. Totally by accident. Knocked Spin out of my way with my little tiny muscle car. And we are down in a minute, 49, almost 50 seconds as I'm in the middle of the traffic. Let's take a look at the damage on the Hotknife. All the windows are gone. Most of the lights are busted out. The doors and trunk are missing. Has bent wheels and some slight minor body damage. We'll take a look at the 2 trucks that came down with me. Both beat up as well, though Commander's definitely looks worse for the wear than Sven's. But that's going to bring us to our next vehicle, the Mtl Fire Truck. The second most voted for vehicle this week, coming in with 48 votes. This is one that has been voted for a few times. It's always been down there with like 4 or 5 votes. And then this week, someone decided that they wanted to make this a reality. Being followed by emergency vehicles up the mountain, as we have our comment on the screen. Thank you guys for your comments. Sometimes I have a chance to grab them before I edit my voiceover version of the video. Sometimes I can't, like today, so I have no idea what the comments will be, but there will be some by the time this goes live. So the fire truck, I had high hopes for the truck. Brandon Tops, take 2. I had really high hopes for the fire truck. Mainly because I have driven this to the top of the mountain before. Long time ago. In a live stream, we were just goofing off on the other side of the mountain. Kind of over by, like, Chiliad Bay. And somebody was like, I bet you can't drive, and there's all these different vehicles up that mountain. And one of them was the fire truck, and it got right up. In fact, I did it again for this video, went up that side of the mountain just to see if I could. Well, for reasons that we'll talk about later. So I kind of expected that it would be able to get up this side as well. And it's been doing really well right up until this point. As we begin to struggle, I turned on the sirens because this is an emergency. Really struggling, but then it shifts gears. Perfect timing just before the wheels started spinning. And I'm thinking, okay, good, this is good. We're going to make it. It's picking up speed. But then this last little bit that gets really steep, and down we go. I got rear-ended by a cop car. As Finn drives just like actual GTA police there. Yeah, this was really frustrating because I really expected this to be, I expected it to be a slow run, but I expected it to be one that I really didn't struggle with. So the fact that I'm going, you know, the wrong direction on the mountain at the moment was a bit of a disappointment. But I was not in any way put off. I decided to back up, get a little bit of a run at it. I tried backing up from right here, but because of the way the suspension works on this, I wasn't really getting any contact with the ground with that left rear wheel, so the right wheel's just spinning. It's that long bumper in the back, I think, lifted the back end up off the ground. So I realized I'm going to need a really good run at it so that I can have some good speed, use inertia on my side to carry that momentum forward. And you can see it gets going in the dirt just fine. Doesn't seem to really struggle, didn't wheel spin or anything. And then turned a little too sharp, lost every bit of that momentum. It's just a GTA physics thing with a lot of the cars that when you turn, they lose a ton of momentum. Some vehicles seem to be impacted by it greater than others. And I understand the basic concepts in the handling files, but I don't know what in the handling files causes that. Like what actual number says when you turn this much momentum is lost. Or if there even is. Maybe it's just a quirk of how they all work together. I don't know. But at this point, the hot knife was already at the top of the mountain. And I haven't even gotten over the first big section yet in the fire truck. So that's why we did the fire truck second. Even though it got less votes, we usually start with the least voted vehicle. Sven being very optimistic, got back in his cop car. I was optimistic at this point too, but we get to about the same point, shifts down again, same thing happened, trying to just go straight instead of following the path to the left, and got a little bit farther, but still no good. Exact same result. It's carrying all that mass, and we can assume that this thing probably weighs a lot, even though there's not an actual water tank on it that, you know, can run out of water. It does spray water, which means, you know, in theory there is a water tank in there somewhere, which just adds to the weight. And I'm sure Rockstar factored that in to the weight of this vehicle. And it's just, gravity overcomes its ability to push itself up the mountain. I think if the fire truck were all-wheel drive, it probably could have made it that last time, because it got really close. I think if those front wheels would have had some traction or some grip to pull in addition to the back wheels, that we would have been just fine. Going for our third attempt, remember, I give every vehicle 3 attempts, and if they can't make it, we call it a DNF. And sadly, will it off-road? Nope. On that third full attempt, it failed, which is sad. That joins 21 other vehicles in DNFing, including one other emergency vehicle, the prison bus. But we are back at the top. Remember, we are all 3 in stolen emergency vehicles, so no armor. And you know what that means. You know exactly what that means. There it is. There's the first one. Finn's fiery corpse goes plummeting down. I tried to put it out, but I ran over it instead. So that was victim number 1. Fire truck, though, holding up pretty well. I kind of expect to have blown up by now. At this point, Commander Hobo is on fire. There is flames shooting out of his engine and by his tires, and there he goes. He was screaming about it. I'm on fire, I'm going to blow up in a second, I'm going to blow up in a second. I really expected the fire truck to do the same, but look at this thing. I mean, I did manage to get it wedged between a molder and a tree as I'm assaulted by various body parts from Sven's police car. Commander Hobo right behind me, but I didn't realize it in time. He was like, hey, wait a minute, but by the time he said, hey, wait a minute, I was already moving, and you hear me try to stop to let him in. Yeah, kind of fruitless in those efforts. So Commander gets to walk down the mountain. I totally would have let him in if he would have just given me that, hey, wait a second, like a millisecond sooner, that I would have still had time to stop. Really expected to have blown up, though. But, I mean, this slow down the mountain, not going to happen. The fire truck, absolute damage descent champ. No armor whatsoever. And has lost like a couple body parts. Like the bumpers are gone, the front and the back bumper both gone. Little bit of an engine rattle coming from it, but the lights are still working. Well, I think we've got one light out there on the left and the back. I don't know about the front at this point. A little bit of body damage. The engine rattle's getting a little worse. But look at this thing. This thing is, I mean, it's a beast. This is insane. And we are down 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Let's take a look at the damage on the fire truck. Most of the windows and some of the lights are on the front and rear bumpers missing. Engine damage and very minor body damage. So, all in all, not bad, especially considering how the other 2 fared. So they have to do the facepalm of shame because their cars blew up on the descent. That is going to do it for this episode of Will It Off-Road. Don't forget, and I know it's mentioned it late, go play bingo. Link in the description down below. You can check off different tiles on the bingo card as different things happen in the game or in the video. Go vote for the vehicles that you want to see featured in Will It Off-Road. And until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.